What's going on, people? This is your man DJ Wolf D here. The purpose of this video, I'm about to show you how quickly and easy it is to operate the Akai MPC software, and the hardware I'm using, of course, is the Akai MPC Studio. The workflow on this program and this piece of gear is just so off the chain. It makes everything so smooth and so easy and so simple to create and put music together. And what I'm going to be doing here today is sampling, editing samples, chopping them up, looping via patch phrase loops. Going to be doing some drum programming and sequencing, putting all those together in song mode, and exporting it out as a WAV file or an MP3 file. So I'm gonna try to do this as fast and as quickly as I can, but talking my way through the entire process. Okay, so let's go ahead and get things rolling. I'm about to start out with my drums. I'm going to drag and drop this MP3 file into the program in the project information section, and the MPC software can take MP3s, WAV files, AIFF files. You got a lot of options. I'm going to double click on this and grab these drums that I want. The drums that I want, they're just at the beginning of the track, so all this stuff at the end, I don't need any of this. So these drums I'm grabbing, I'm getting these courtesy of Questlove from the Roots. This is him playing drums live. So all this crap at the end I don't need, so I'm just going to discard that, throw it in the trash. Click the discard button and click do it. By the way, I'm going to be doing some stuff here on the screen in the software. I'm going to be doing some stuff here on the Akai MPC Studio hardware. You can pretty much do everything on the hardware that you can do in the software, and vice versa. You can pretty much do everything in the software that you can do on the hardware also. So there are certain things I'm going to be doing on both. So right now I'm just going to grab a few particular percussion sounds. So I'm grabbing this front part of the sample cursor with my mouse to look for a kick drum that I want. There it is right there. So just put that kind of like at the beginning of it and grab the end chop point around the end. Now I'm going to take this and spread this out so I can see it a little bit better. Now, instead of me grabbing these start and end points with the mouse, I'm going to use the Q-Link knobs. So if you look on the screen where the 16 Q-Link knobs are, when I turn the scroll wheel at the top of the MPC Studio, it sets it on a different section of the 4 knobs. So the first row is the start, meaning the start point of the sample. So set it right at the beginning there. And when I switch the scroll wheel to end, of course, it's going to affect the end portion of the sample. So you can see it chopping off the end. So that's cool right there for the kick sample. So all I want to do is extract this sample. So I click extract. I'm going to rename it right now and call it kick drum, and click do it. It's going to set it over here in the project information sample. Project information section underneath the samples section. And once again, this is non-destructive editing. So even though I just extracted that kick, nothing was affected in terms of the other parts of this sample or even that kick drum. Now I'm going to go to the beginning of this and grab a couple of snares. So just quickly set it right around the point where I want. I'll expand the waveform out again so you can see what I'm doing a lot clearer. I'm going to use the Q-Link section again to just creep up on the beginning of this sample, get it nice and accurate where I want it, and I'll roll the back part back a little bit. That's fine right there. Extract. We'll call this one snare 1. Alright, and the second snare I want is somewhere back here, one of these. Oh, that was it. Alright, that's cool right there. Extract. And we will call this snare 2. and do it. Alright, I'm just going to grab two more sounds here, folks. I'm going to get a tom. Give us a little bit more. Alright. Cool. Extract. We'll call this tom. Do it. And there's one more joint that I need to get. I need to get a hi-hat. There we go. And we will extract, rename this hi-hat, and do it, and we're all good. I'm going to hit the main button to take us back to the main screen. We now have our initial 5 samples here, and I'm just going to drag and drop these to the pad. So kick drum, hi-hat, snare 1, snare 2, and tom. So now we have this. All of our sounds. Velocity sensitive pads, of course. However hard you hit it or soft you hit it, that's when the volume raises or lowers. If we click full level, it'll automatically be at maximum volume no matter how hard you press it. Okay, so there's one more thing I want to do with this main sample. I want to double click this again. I'm going to create a loop out of the first main 2 bars of this. Alright, so alright, that starts right here. And where does it end? It's going to end somewhere. Back here maybe. Yeah, it's going to be about right here. So now let me zoom in and get a little bit more accurate with this stuff. Alright, there's the beginning part of our loop. And let's jump down to the end and get a little more accurate with that. Okay, that's cool. That's all we need from this. All these other parts here at the end and the beginning, we don't need that, so we can discard that stuff. Throw it in the trash. So this is all we're left with. Alright, so what we're going to do with this is create a patched phrase. We're going to chop this sample, but the computer's going to do all the work. I should say the MPC software is going to do all the work for us. We just click chop, and there are 3 different types of chops. A threshold chop, a regions-based chop, or by BPM, by beats per minute. We're going to do a threshold chop here. So what that's doing is automatically finding all the peak points of this loop, all the peak points, the kick, the snare, the hi-hats, and setting a marker at each one of those points, and that's where it's going to chop it. And actually it missed this one right here, and that's cool. We can fix that on the hardware here. I'm going to go down the threshold, and the default setting for this is 50, so I'm going to just turn it up. I'm going to keep turning it up until it actually detects that missing peak point right there. So I'm just going to do it a knob. Oh, I only had to turn it once. I went from 50 to 51 and it already detected it. So that's 51. That's the threshold at 50. Back to 51. So as you can see, it's detected each threshold point, each peak point, and set a marker right on it. So it's going to chop this up. But because this is a patched phrase, it's going to chop it up, but make it accessible via one pad on the MPC Studio. Alright, so what we do here is click convert, and the type of slice we want is a patch phrase slice. Number of bars 2 is 2 bars, and we click do it. Now you see it created a brand new copy of the sample, but it put a PP at the end of it for patched phrase. So check this out. I'm going to hit main to take us back to the main screen. And actually, instead of dragging this here in pad bank A with these other samples that we have, I'm going to just throw this one by itself on pad bank B, so you guys can clearly see what's going on between this patch phrase sample and the other individual samples that I have. So just drag this and drop it onto one of the pads. So here's the cool thing about patch phrases. Because they are actually chopped up, whatever tempo your sequence is set at, it's going to play at that tempo with no hiccups or flaws or anything. So right now it's at 120 beats per minute, and just so you can see what's going on, this is the original tempo. But when I go to this patch phrase, it'll play it at 120 beats per minute because that's what I have the sequence on right now. Alright, so now if I take that down, let's go down to, let's say, 90 beats per minute. Automatically jumps down. So let's go ahead and record that. This is 2 bars, and the sequence is, I should say, the sample is 2 bars long, and the sequence is already at 2 bars because that's the default setting for every sequence. It automatically just starts out at 2 bars, so we don't need to change that. So let me go ahead and record this. The very first time I record this in, it's going to be off a little bit when it loops around again because I'm not going to necessarily press it right on beat, but you know, I have it set to a setting where it's going to automatically play any notes that I have and put them right on beat. As a matter of fact, I can actually change this now because I'm going to program a beat next with those individual samples, and I want it to be a swing beat. So I'm going to change the timing correct. So that's what I'm talking about when I say it's going to automatically put it right on beat for me. I want to change it from a 16th note to a 16th note triplet because I want to do a swing beat. So let's go ahead and record this. So I pressed it a little bit late. Alright, so now that it's actually in there, I'm going to play it a couple times and you'll hear it's going to loop flawlessly. And now I'm going to change the tempo in real time. Still a flawless loop. I'm at 150 beats per minute right now. Still a flawless loop. Alright, so that's the great thing about patched phrases, patch phrase samples and loops. Alright, you can, you know, take any hot drum bass loops or samples that you want to loop up, and you know, you can loop them up and set them at whatever tempo you want, and it'll always stay in sync perfectly for you. So there we go, back at 90 beats per minute. So we laced that up on sequence 1. Let's go ahead and create another sequence, and I'm going to actually program a beat myself this time. So go to sequence 2, take the tempo down to 90 beats per minute also, and I'm going to go back to pad bank A. All my individual samples are. So let me go ahead and program a beat, and of course we're doing this timing correct wise at 16th note triplets, which it was already set at. So let me go ahead and start recording. Oops, sorry about that. Undo, didn't mean to do that. So by just clicking undo, I just completely erased what I just recorded there. All right, here we go. Okay, I have my kicks, my snares, my tom. One more thing I need to do, I want to add the hi-hats. All those other instruments I recorded at full level. I don't want to do that with the hi-hat though, because I want to add a little swing flavor to it. But if I do it all at that exact same volume level, it's going to sound really unnatural. So I want to change up the volume levels of the hi-hats. I'm going to do this using the 16 levels feature. hit 16 levels, select the sample that you want it to affect, and the type of 16 levels we're going to mess around with is the velocity, the volume level. Click do it. So now these hi-hats are spread apart on all 16 pads at a different volume level. So now, instead of me playing the hi-hats at just one volume level, I can do different volume levels. Make them sound a little bit more natural. So let's go ahead and program some hi-hats. Okay, that's cool. Let's just throw a couple more sounds in here, okay? To kind of wrap this up. So this section here is where we pull our sounds from our different sound libraries and folders and all that good stuff. So I'm going to go to MPC factory content, the stuff that came with the MPC software. Go to MPC drum content, drum kits, and click sample. Sample is going to show all the actual samples in here. Program is going to show all the actual programs, also known as drum kits. So a program is just a collection of your sounds, aka your drum kits. Sequences are the actual individual sequences that you program. And projects, when you save everything as a whole, it gets saved as a project. So what I'm creating right now, if I want to save it, I would save it as a project, and it's going to save everything. It's going to save the samples, it's going to save the program, all right, the drum kit, it's going to save the sequences, it's going to save everything. Just save it into a folder that you can name and place wherever you want to place it. All right, so samples right now, if I want to audition these samples, I would press auto preview, and then using the up and down arrow keys on my computer keyboard, I can hear everything in real time. Or I could just press on it with the keyboard, whatever. So let's go ahead and let's throw this joint up in here. Let's throw this baby in here. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and use this sound and drag it to a pad. But the last thing we did was program the hi-hats using the 16 levels feature. So I'm gonna turn 16 levels off so that we can see what our normal pads look like again. Drag this sound to an empty pad. Now it's there. All right, let's go ahead and grab one more sound just to fill this up a little bit more. Let's see. Grab this sound right here. And let's go ahead and throw these babies in. Okay, so now we have two sequences. We have this, and we have this. Alright, one thing I want to do, I don't like the sound of these hi-hats. The hi-hats are playing a little too long in regards to the sample. I want them to cut off a little bit. So I'm going to change this in real time while I'm listening to it. Double click on the hi-hat to pull up the wave of that sample. And with the Q link, since we're messing with the end of the sample here, I'm going to start chopping it off. See how it kind of changed up the sound of the sequence? Yeah, that's what I want right there. It was a little too noisy, a little too busy before. So all this crap I don't need, so I'm going to click discard, and that's our new hi-hat right there. Okay, back to main. So now we have 2 sequences, and I want to create one more sequence. I want to copy sequence 2 to sequence 3. So we do this by clicking sequence edit, and you see these 8 options pop up on the screen here. Well, I'm not sure if you can see through from the webcam, but we have 8 options to choose from, and they're labeled by number via the numbers on the pads here. So number 5 says copy a sequence, so that means we press pad 5, and it says copy contents of sequence 2 over contents of sequence 3. It'll automatically pick the next unused sequence. That's what I want to do it. So now this is sequence 3, the exact copy of that same sequence. One thing I want to quickly do is rename this, because it still says sequence 2 because we just copied it, even though it's in the 3rd slot. But in the software here, just click and highlight it, and you can rename the sequences whatever you want to. So just type it in on your keyboard. You know, we want to name a sequence chorus hook, name another sequence verse 1, another one verse 2, whatever. So that's how you do that. Very simple. So on this screen, it also changed from sequence 3, or from sequence 2 to sequence 3. What I want to do is get rid of everything except for one sound in here. That's the only sound I want to keep. Everything else I want to delete. So very easy. Click erase. I don't want to erase all. That's what it says right now. Take the cursor down on top of all, and all the pads that have sounds on there I use are glowing right now in yellow. So I just press each pad, each sample that I don't want to keep, and it pops up on the screen. So pad 1, now it says pad 2, now it says pad 3. So I just pressed all 6 of the sounds that I no longer want, and they're all on the screen. I click do it, and now they're gone. Matter of fact, I don't even need to keep it at 2 bars anymore. I can just change it to 1 bar. So it just ends right after 2, 3, 4, and bam, that's it. Because that's going to be the end of our song here. And that's what we're about to do right now. We're about to take these 3 sequences and create a song, put them in song mode. So very simple. We press song on the MPC, and the song mode screen pops up. It also pops up in the software. So on the screen, it's very simple, and all we're going to do is deal with those 3 different sequences that we made, and make them play a certain amount of times. So you click the insert button, and then the sequence, the last sequence that you mess with pops up on the screen, and you can change it to any sequence you want by just turning the knob. So sequence 1 we want, and then after that we want sequence 2 to come in. So I press insert again, and now another selection pops up. Change that to sequence 2. After sequence 2 plays, we want the 3rd sequence to come in. So I hit insert again, go down there and change that to sequence 3. And sequence 1, we want that to play how many times? Because it's only 2 measures long. I want it to play for 4 measures. So instead of repeating just once, we change that to 2. So now 2 repetitions. Same thing with sequence 2. Instead of just playing 1 time, which is 2 bars, we want it to play twice, which will be 4 bars. And our very last final sequence, we just want that to play once. So that's how you create a song via the actual MPC Studio hardware. I'm going to delete all that. And now I'm going to create that same thing from the software screen. Every sequence that you create, it gets put onto a pad. So as you can see, sequence 1 is on pad 1, sequence 2 is here on pad 2, sequence 3 is on pad 3, and the rest are unused. So all we do is just drag and drop the sequence from whatever pad into this area here on the left. So there's sequence 1, sequence 2, and drag sequence 3. And if you wanted to change it to another sequence, you just click on the drop down button, and that's how you would change it to another sequence. Okay. And of course, in regards to the repetitions, like I said, if I wanted to change them, which I do, so I'm going to go to sequence 1, I want that to play twice. Sequence 2, I want that to play twice also. And then our 3rd sequence, we just want that to, once again, just play once. And it shows what the tempo of each sequence is. And of course, I set all those at 90 beats per minute. So that's it. Our song is done. So we can now go ahead and play our song, and it sounds a little something like this. That's it. That's our song. And it's that simple. That's all it takes to create individual sequences and then put them back to back in the order that you want them to play, and mark how many times you want them to play, how many repetitions, and that's all it takes to create a song. Before we export this out, and we'll export it out as an MP3 file, there's one more thing I want to do. I want to go into Program Mix. Program Mix. Now, as you can see, this is basically a virtual mixing board of the main volume faders and the pan knobs and the mute buttons. This sample was a little loud, so I just want to take the volume down some so you can hear. All right, we'll take it to about right there. Pick it up a little bit more. Okay, and one final thing I want to show you, which I'm not about to actually make it the track, just show you. This is just one of the ways you can pull up effects on any of your samples. As you can see, each pad gives you an option to pull up 4 different insert effects. So we'll just use the hi-hats here. You turn it on, and then you click the button for the drop-down menu. And all these effects were created by the company Isotope. All these effects come with the MPC software. They're all effects that were made by Isotope. So let's say we want to throw a large reverb on our hi-hats, and this is what it sounds like. So it's that simple. If I wanted to change this to, say, a grimy distortion effect, it's that simple. Alright, let's take this off. No effect. I'll just turn this off actually. Alright, so just wanted to quickly show you that. So back to our main screen, actually back to our song. There we go. And what we want to do right now is export our song. Very simple. We go up to File, go to Export as Audio Mixdown. And we have the option to export it as a WAV file, AIFF file, or an MP3 file. A stereo MP3 file is what we're going to do right now. 128 bit rate, 44.1 kilohertz. We click export, and then we tell it where we want to put the file. We'll just throw it right on the desktop, and here's where we name it. So I'll just name this DJ Woof D Test Track. And then it exports out very fast in real time. So when I click save, you'll see it speed through. Bam, that was it. Now it's right here on the desktop. And I'll play it from the desktop. Alright people, that's it. That's it for the basics of the MPC software and studio workflow. Just basic sampling, editing, chopping, looping, sequencing, putting stuff in the song mode, pulling up effects. Alright, so let me say this. I am in no way, shape, or form an expert in everything that the MPC software can do. I'm learning myself. Some of the things I already knew how to do just from being in a former MPC user, but I'm still learning as I go along too. Oh my God, some incredible features on this thing, I'm telling you. So if you plan on getting one of these, you're going to be very, very happy. If there's anyone who has any questions about anything, like I said, I'm not an expert, but I will be more than happy to try to answer any questions you may have. So all you got to do is just hit me up with a message. And that's it. It's your man Wolf D signing out, people.